Most vicious group at Pollock. I mean, I was there. I was there at the same time as you. It wasn't there long. Ended up getting into something and ended up leaving there, right? But who was the most vicious group of dudes at USP Pollock when you were there?
I would say the DC car, and it was ran by DC Champ. And I'm, it's funny that because I'm saying to myself, this guy here, he looked like he probably about 4'11", you know what I'm saying? And hey, but you know, once I got to know him a little bit, you know what I'm saying? It, he was vicious in the streets of DC, and he was vicious in the penitentiary at USP Pollock. Like, I never seen nobody. Now you had gang members. You got the Vice Lords, the GDs, the BDs, the P Stones, the Crips, the Bloods, the Mexican gangs, and all this shit here. But I never seen nobody that command a yard. Like, it wasn't. He was well respected, and the DC car was well respected. At least while he was there, the whole time. And if any one of them gang members, any one of them got out of line, they had to deal with that DC car. As far as, if you got out of line with a DC guy, I don't care if it was a argument. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a killing. What, at USP Pro Lot, what no fighting and all that. You might not even get a one-on-one fight with your homeboys, but for sure with them DC guys, wasn't no fighting. They slinging that iron all day, every day. I remember the incident where DC Champ was playing football against Florida on the field. I think that was on B yard at the time, and dude from Florida ended up slamming him down. You know what I'm saying, tackling him. But the way he slammed him down was a little rough. You know what I'm saying. And man, look at it. That was a DC Florida right there. That shit kicked off, and dudes got stabbed all the way up, and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Then you had another incident where DC and Louisiana got into it. And this situation I was more close to, meaning that it originated out of my unit. I was in B4 at the time, and one of my homeboys and another dude end up uh exposing theyself to a DC dude. And they was really call themselves masturbating on a female. And the DC dude end up seeing it. And it didn't go down right then. It was some politicking that took place. But both of the guys stayed in my unit that was masturbating or jacking off on the woman. And one of the dude from Texas, he ended up checking in, meaning that, he went to the whole because he kind of seen the shit brewing. And so the DC dudes went to the Louisiana dudes, which was really who had the Louisiana car at the time was New Orleans. It's gonna really be the biggest city that from your state that's kind of got the car. So he end up they end up going to the Louisiana, New Orleans dudes and told 'em, man, you gonna run your homeboy up. And they kind of like DC kind of guys, they grimy, you know what I'm saying? So they wasn't running one of their homeboys up. They was like, no. So DC Champ didn't even stay in my building. But he came over there and they told him to run him up or so on and so forth. And they wasn't gonna run him up. So they end up kind of squashing the situation to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? They was at the point where, okay, we gonna let y'all make it. DC then was like, well, we gonna let y'all make it to a certain extent. So I end up going to work. I was actually working in the AW complex. So I went to work that morning, and I probably wasn't at work a good 20 minutes. They had a dude from New Orleans on the rec yard talking shit because nothing had happened. This is one of the incidents where DC didn't push on them right then. They was really, did let the politics take place. And I guess the New Orleans dudes felt like, oh, they ain't about that action because we in Louisiana, we in their backyard. They got more guys there than probably any car. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember the numbers, but I know DC probably didn't have more than about 20, 25 guys there, maybe 30. You know what I'm saying? And so they end up saying some shit, and it got back to Champ. And I think one of the dudes was like, "Man, them boys didn't want no smoke or some old shit like that." I can't remember what words he used verbatim, but Champ got word, and so on the next end of the night, how they do the in and outs, meaning that you're in your buildings or you're in whatever location for an hour, and they do in and outs every hour for like 10 minutes. So when they done that next in and out, Champ them come out there, man, and went to slaughtering them guys, man. I'm talking about when I say they dogged them, I'm talking about they dogged the New Orleans guys. They dogged the whole Louisiana car. I'm talking about dudes that was all in school that didn't even know what was going on. Dudes that was all at work in Unicor that didn't know nothing about nothing that was going on. Uh, when they was actually coming from work, because now the compound is locked down. So as they coming in from work from Unicor, man, ain't got nothing to do with nothing. They coming in the block. Well, as they coming in the block, they can't get in their cells to the officer letting them in their cells, but the officer might be outside letting everybody else come in. I actually sent you a picture with Champ and them on there, for your audience to see when you put it up. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they end up stabbing some dudes up coming from work, man, from kitchen and everything. When they came in the block, they couldn't get in their cells right then. I seen dudes slide knives out under the door. DC dudes slide knives under the door, and they were stabbing dudes up coming from work, man. That was the bloodiest ride that I seen, and I was there for. Seen some white boys have rides. I seen, I was there. I seen probably about 7 murders in probably a 18-month, maybe 9 murders in like a 18-month period at USP Pollock at the time. You know
So
what
the
I'm saying?
DC, let me ask you this: DC dudes are out there slaughtering, or the New Orleans dudes stabbing back?
They they wasn't prepared for nothing like that. I mean, I'm pretty sure maybe one or two dudes might have stabbed, but ain't nobody from DC went to no hospital. Like I watched them myself with my own eyes run guys all the way in the block and stabbing them all in the cell, in the head. The gun tower steady shooting and throwing grenades and so on and so forth. I seen the dude get stabbed right there. Cause when they hit the deuces, which is the alarm for people that don't know, when they hit the deuces, they ran me out of the AW complex. So I'm right in front on the yard seeing all this here take place. So, I'm seeing dudes getting stabbed up in medical, with the gurneys, dragging people off the yard, doing CPR on guys. Nobody died, but you had some dudes that damn near died. I remember one guy from Baton Rouge named Sid. They had to put him in one of the laundry carts and push him to the emergency room. I mean, to the infirmary. I seen Champ myself, you know, slanging that iron, hitting by 4, 5 guys, chasing them behind them, and they just wasn't prepared for that, man. But the crazy thing about it, they end up linking up and becoming, becoming, becoming one. So DC and the Louisiana car end up clicking up together after all that, and became one. And that what made some of the other gangs end up clicking up to try to combat the Louisiana and the DC car, and that wasn't going on nowhere damn near in the system until USP Pollock.